name right now before I said this. But you know the guy that sings the song, uh, you said I'm gonna have a kid. I don't care if he's there or not. Now you're a single mom. He's got like the diapers. He's like, you let him hit it raw. Now you're a single mom. That guy, that black guy. It was so refreshing to see. He's on his live stream right now, and he was saying he didn't agree with everything that Charlie Kirk said, but he did not believe that he deserved to die. And that's very refreshing to see a black man say that after I have seen 5 pages worth of screenshots on one post in my feed. Charlie Kirk's wife was crying over the open coffin of her dead husband. She's a crying widow. And I see 5 pages worth of screenshots of black people laugh reacting. So it's very refreshing to see that black man say that he did not think that Charlie Kirk deserved to die. The guy that's like, now you're a single mom because you let him hit it raw. He does that song. He's been on some stuff. I forget the guy's name. It's very refreshing to see. I'm glad that all of the black people don't think that Charlie Kirk deserved to die. And he also mentioned how those quotes were taken out of context. We're talking top 20% IQ here amongst the population, able to go read the context, hold 2 or 3 thoughts in their head at the same time and see how they relate to one another. You know, able to understand per capita. It's refreshing. I'm so glad, I'm tired because I've been climbing up under that house, commando crawling and everything, crawling around for 2 days under that house, and every joint in my body pretty much hurts. And I'm tired. I'm fighting not to fall asleep. I'm about to go to get me a shower. Oh, I got everything breaking up with my truck at the same time because that's how it goes. When I got off of work, the valve stem was tore and leaking air really fast, so I had to stop and get that fixed at the tire shop in Vidalia. You're saying, hell yeah? What about? Oh, I don't know if you said that about something I was saying at the time, but I'm just saying, it's refreshing for me to see that it's not everybody. It's not everybody that was thinking that kind of way. But I posted it on my Facebook page because I think, people need to see the names of these people. You got, 5 pages of screenshots of people just laughing at a grieving widow over a coffin. That's just so vile. Hello, brother. Where are you from? I am from Wheeler County, Georgia. I'm from Alamo, Georgia, Glenwood, Georgia, depending on which parent. What's that? Is that German? Just little vowel pointers on constant. What is? Oh, does it spell something? OKKKKN. I'm from Egypt. Do you know her? I do know Egypt. It's over there. It's in Africa. The northeast Africa, above Sudan. It's, Sudan above Ethiopia. I don't know on the other side, what's it border? Libya or something like that. And then on the other side, it shares a border with Gaza and Israel. I know about Egypt. I haven't visited the pyramids. That would be cool. I've never been to Egypt. I've only been. I haven't even left the continental United States. I've been to Georgia. I've been to South Carolina. I've been to North Carolina. I've been to Tennessee. I've been to Alabama. I've been to Florida. I've been to Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. I've been, I've never left the Confederate States. I'm not saying there's still Confederate States, but I've never left the South. And I don't really have the money right now. I don't really have the money to go traveling around. If I did, I would like to see Egypt. I would like to see Iraq. I would like to see Rome. I would like to see a lot of places and visit, but I have not. I would also it would be really cool to be able to like go look at the pyramids in the places that they don't allow you to go. I think they hide a lot of stuff. I saw something where they were saying that there was this metal plate of iron found in the pyramids, but then it didn't fit the mainstream story and it was like dismissed as a hoax. And then people were saying it was real. They were saying maybe it was meteorite iron because there was some meteorite iron in Egypt. A pharaoh had a meteorite iron dagger, but this iron didn't have nickel in it, and it almost always does from meteorite iron. So it suggested that Egyptians were working iron before the Bronze Age. And I really think that this whole idea that nobody used iron until after the collapse of the Bronze Age, I think it's bullshit. I think that probably they had a lot of things that they had in the Iron Age and the Bronze Age, and then with the social collapses all over the world at the collapse of the Bronze Age, just so much was lost and repurposed. Like if you think about it, like just if a natural disaster happens and people go to looting or something, there's all kind of copper wire that was copper wire that's about to get melted down to scrap, repurposed. Let's say the Egyptians had wooden cranes to lift stones and everything. Thousands of years from then, they might have repurposed that wood. It might have been, different metals might have been melted down and turned into other tools. So, you really can lose technology just because of population demographics. Like if you have a civilization where you've got a lot of old people and not enough young people, and you don't have enough, you have a labor force collapse. Like in America right now, almost half of all of our nuclear scientists are really old and about to retire, and there's nobody to replace them, nobody trained to replace them. So I think in history, there's a natural rise and fall of nations and civilizations. And I reject this whole idea where people think that like thousands of years ago, people were dumb as monkeys and we've been constantly getting so super smart. I think the ancients were smart and they experienced population collapses. They experienced going backwards in technology and then going forwards. Like Christopher Columbus during his time, they had technology about like at the Roman Empire. But when the Roman Empire collapsed, everything went backwards for a while, and it took a while for them to get back to where they are. It's not a steady one step ahead of another forward progress throughout all history. It's a step or two forward, a step back, a step or two forward, a step or two back, a step forward. And I think that the Egyptians were able to do, like, we find a lot of glass jewelry in Egypt, and I think that it's not unreasonable to assume that they probably also had optics. They probably had glass lenses and telescopes. People are like, how did the ancients know about these planets and stuff? They probably were able to put a telescope together before Galileo, and then the technology was lost and rediscovered. They probably were able to focus light to cut stone. And they were probably in sound, and like they're probably able to do all kind of things. And then it probably wasn't knowledge. Like some of these things were state secrets. Like certain priesthoods, certain people knew this technology. It wasn't like everyone knew how to do it. Some people were being controlled by believing that it was magic. And so the knowledge wasn't just out for everybody to have. And then when certain people were killed or the technology was lost or invaders come or whatever, they had sort of a reset. So what am I doing? I'm just sitting in the chair. I've been working, crawling under a house, pulling out insulation. I put up a video of us dumping the insulation with a dump trailer so you can see how big of a house and how much insulation we pulled out. So I'm commando crawling up under this house. I put poly, like it looks almost like a pond liner up under the house over the dirt so that moisture doesn't come up in there. And so I had to drag that out to the house, and I'm just so tired I don't feel like doing anything. And I'm having to keep myself from falling asleep because I still got to go take a shower. Brittany's cleaning the house, and she'll be back. So what I'm doing is kind of like I've already done a lot, and now I'm just kind of doing nothing, as little as I can. And since Brittany's cleaning the house right now, I I can go live without like neglecting her or cutting into our time together. And I don't really know what to talk about. I just am going live because I can right now. I'm gonna scroll on the comments. I'm gonna read these comments that I didn't notice while I was talking. Have you visited? I have. Okay. Oh, well, thank you. May God bless you with a lot of money too. Yeah, sure. Serious. What time is it there, brother? It is 7:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I live in Georgia. Not Georgia, the island, not Georgia up under Russia, but Georgia, unfortunately, beside Alabama. I'm just kidding, Alabama. We border Alabama and Florida. We got Florida people crossing the border into Georgia. We got Alabama people crossing the border into Georgia. We're dealing with a lot right now. A lot of Florida people. Believe it or not, to us in Georgia and South Georgia, the Florida people are the rich people. You know, we've got land but no money, and they got the money, and they coming up here buying all the land and stuff. So it's, let's see. I don't know how to read Arabic, so I don't really know what you said. And I don't know how to get into the chat to comment on comments. I can see your comment and I can talk. So I can't get into the chat and highlight that and Google Translate it. I don't know what it is. I know a few words in Arabic, but I don't really know Arabic. Can you subscribe? Yes, you can subscribe. Please do. But you might not like all my, I don't know. I might have been, if you see enough of my videos, you might get mad and unsubscribe. I don't know, because I say a lot of things. I don't mean to be, I just try to tell the truth, and I'm not always right. Like, I used to be a hardcore supporter of Israel, and now I can't believe that I ever was. But I used to believe a lot of lies. And I went to school, when I was in high school, I went to school to be a preacher. And I'll tell you, in almost any Protestant denomination, if you go to school to be a preacher, they're going to teach you out of the Cyrus Scofield commentary, which is published by Jewish publishers. And they teach you to interpret the Bible in a way to kind of twist it around and believe that you're supposed to just support Israel no matter what. But if you were to really look at what the Bible says, like in Galatians, it's teaching that the church is the continuation of Israel, the real Israel. Most of the Israelites follow Jesus. Now, there were Pharisees, a certain sect of Pharisees, after the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. They had converted Edomites during the Maccabean revolt. There was more of them in Babylon than Jerusalem. They converted the Khazarians. They converted a lot of Babylonians, just different people anyway. But their whole thing was, since the temple was destroyed, they started a whole new religion. They're not the continuation of the religion of Moses. And most of their religion was just a reaction to Jesus Christ. They hated Jesus. And the Talmud says horrible things, like that the non-Jews are meant to be the slaves of the Jews. It says that only Jews have souls. It says that it's okay for a Jew to steal from a non-Jew because the non-Jew is supposed to be property of the Jew. So, you know, but I used to not know those things. And I did know that the Rothschild banking institution was corrupt, fraudulent, and wrong. And I had Jewish friends, but they started attacking me and saying I was anti-Semitic when I wasn't, because I was pointing out the corruption in the bank and I couldn't understand it. And then they got mad, and then a man was saying that the Jews own the media, and I started looking into it, and they did. And then they got mad at me that I said that. And I'm like, why are you mad? Like, it's a matter of public record. I can show you the executives and everyone. And they were like, that's what Hitler said. And I didn't know that Hitler had said that the Jews own the media and the banks and academia and medicine and all this other. I didn't know he had said that. And I didn't even know that Karl Marx was a Jew. I didn't even know that Anton LaVey that founded Satanism was a Jew. I don't want to go off on a long tangent, but basically, I used to be a Christian Zionist. I totally am not anymore. And when I used to believe I was right, I really believed I was right. And then now I see that I was wrong, and I changed my opinion. And there's other things I may change my opinion, but I think I'm speaking the truth anyway. I don't try to lie. And a lot of times, if you tell the truth, people hate you for it. And people get mad and then they say, you're a bad person. And I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings. Some of the things I say hurt people's feelings. I'm just trying to tell the truth. I was lied to a lot as a child, and I hated it. I hated being tricked. I hated being lied to, and I have a hunger for the truth. Georgia is a poor state. Sorry, but it's true. I hope you get it. I do have a job. I got a job when I was in high school working at Warby. I've always had a job. I've never took government assistance. I don't take no food stamps. I don't take no money like that. I've always worked, and by the sweat of my brow, I've bought my food. I've bought what I've bought. I don't have a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money, but I do work in construction. I've worked in a factory for Husqvarna, making lawnmowers, chainsaws, snow blowers, all that stuff like that. I've worked in landscaping. I've worked in every part of pine straw, baling pine straw, moving pine straw up to North Georgia on a trailer, unloading pine straw for landscapers, spreading pine straw. I done said that I worked at Worthington Egg Farm. I've worked at grocery stores. Right now I work as a construction worker. Do insulation, roll-up doors, garage doors, pan systems, just different stuff like gutters. So I do have a job. I will always have a job. I cannot be happy if I don't have a job. I've got to work. I can't even go to sleep unless I do enough work to tire myself out. I'll just lay there and think about things all night and not be able to go to sleep. And I'll get bored. I cannot just not have a job. I would go crazy. I have to work. So it's not that I'm not that bad off that I don't have a job. I do have a job. But I don't have a lot of money, and it's kind of, I got a thin profit margin because a lot of the money that I get paid, I have to use on the truck and gas and insurance and everything just to drive back and forth to Vidalia to keep working. Like a lot of the money I get paid is just enough money to keep working and get food, get electricity, and get gas. So I don't have extra money to go travel and see Egypt or go to Japan, or I wish but I sacrifice a lot and go without to try to get there one day. Like I buy a lot of fruit trees. I've planted a lot of peach trees and blueberry bushes and pomegranates and bananas and coffee. And, some of that needs a greenhouse in the winter, but orange trees, olive trees. I've planted a lot of, I don't know how to say it, arbequina, some type of Spanish olive. I planted a lot of olive. I think I was the first person to ever plant olive trees in Wheeler County. And so I'm trying to, with whatever extra money I can scrape up, plant more and more fruit trees. I spent $140 a week for, I don't know if it was 6 years, 8 years, something like that, making payments, not through the Rothschild banking system, through a private contract. I bought land. I bought almost 7 acres of land. And I just made payments, $140 a week for years and years and years. And the guy I had the contract with, he would never give me receipts. And the way the contract was, if I miss a payment, I lose it all. And he was also my boss. I worked for him. So I was always worried that if I quit, he might get mad at me, not give me the receipts, and I just lose all the money. But eventually I got the land paid off. And it almost killed me. I had too much concrete in my lungs. That's when I worked for J&K Creation. And he didn't want to buy a ventilator mask, but he bought him a lake house. He bought him a $70,000 truck, but he just didn't want to keep buying filters for the ventilator mask. He get them bullshit like pollen masks for cutting grass. And, I'd cough up blood and stuff. And just, it got too bad. My health got too bad. I couldn't work there no more. I worked there a little bit longer after I had the land paid off, but I left. Went and worked at my mama's restaurant for a little while, and then I went to work for All Pro. My mama did not have a restaurant when I was growing up. I'm 38, and I'm the oldest of 7 children. I'm the oldest, my name's Paul, and then I got Josh, Adam, Luke, Jacob, Noah, and Gracie, my little sister. And so we really kind of grew up poor because there was a lot of us, and my mama was proud. She didn't take food stamps or nothing like that. and she didn't ask for help. She just found a way. And but then after I become an adult, my dad's making good money now, working in computers, and my mama owns a restaurant. And so some people have told Brittany, they're like, he grew up, they think that because my parents have money now, that I've got money. I ain't got no money. Or they thought that, but anyway, yes, I've always worked. And I would work at a job and I'd get very good at the job. And then I'd start to get bored. I'd work in a place a year or two and then I'd go find me another job. But I worked for J&K Creations for 8 years. I've been at All Pro for 2 years. As long as I can afford to keep working there, I'll keep working there. But there are some other jobs that would pay me double the amount of money, but I don't know if I want to work there. So I'll stay where I'm at as long as I can afford to stay where I'm at, because I really do like building America. I like to build things. I like to drive by and see the things that I've built. It's fine. I'll thank you, Adam. And but yeah, Georgia is really almost like 2 states, even though it's not. I've lived in Dawsonville and I've lived in Wheeler County, and Atlanta is completely different from the country part of Georgia. So you've got the center of Georgia, or not the center, it's kind of north center. You've got Atlanta. And Atlanta is liberal. Atlanta's like pro-homosexuality, pro-abortion, pro-communism. That's Atlanta. And then everywhere out in the country around it is anti-abortion, anti-homosexuality, anti-communism. So it's like, and there's as many people in the big city of Atlanta pretty much as the whole rest of the state. So when you say you're from Georgia, like in North Georgia is different than South Georgia culturally. It really is. South Georgia, like a lot of Georgia was settled by British, like English, and a good bit of German population. But the Irish population, the Scots-Irish population is kind of sprinkled in, But the area that I'm from, there's a lot of people of Irish descent. Like right the next town over, like if you go that back way, is Scotland. And then you go up a little bit more, there's Dublin. And my daddy is Jeffrey Browning, his daddy's William Clayton Browning, his daddy's Thomas Clayton Browning, and his daddy was John Green Browning. John Green Browning, during the Irish famine, he come to New York, but he moved to Wheeler County, Georgia. But everybody come to New York. That was like the port of entry. So they come to New York and they own, he married this woman that owned Wall Street actually. But it wasn't, the New York Stock Exchange didn't exist then. It was just apartment buildings rented out for, I think they said $2 a month or something like ridiculously sounding cheap, but it ain't really cheap. But she did not write a will. They didn't have a will. And when she died, it didn't get passed down. And then, I don't know, the government took it and someone else bought it. And now it's Wall Street and whatever else. And for 3 different generations, they sent lawyers down here telling us to sue them and all that stuff. But we never did, because my granddaddy had a tobacco farm. He had cows. And, he had a big farm. And almost everybody in the area, all the boys in the area worked on his farm. But he had 12 sons. And so once you start dividing that land up with 7 sons, I mean, not 7 sons, 12 sons, except that JD died when he was 2. But, the land gets broken up into smaller and smaller pieces. And by the time it gets to me, my granddaddy wanted me to have 3 acres, but then he died. The family didn't do what he said and sold it to the one person he said not to sell it to. And so then I just had nothing, no land, no nothing. So I just bought me some land. And I suffered to get it, but I got it. And I've been planting a lot of fruit trees and stuff. And I hope that one day I'll be able to build me a farm and just quit working for other people and just work for myself as a farmer. And I always wanted to be a farmer, but everyone was like, you know, you're smart. You should do something else besides being a farmer. Or they would be like, you can't make no money farming. Or everybody was like, don't be a farmer. But I like to grow things. I like to take care of animals and plants. And I think it's a good job. Everybody's got to eat. It's good to make food. So, I forgot. I got a hole in that pocket. I can't put my keys in that pocket. They'll fall out. I got my billfold. I'm going to go walk over there to Lee's. I got, my well's broke. It got broke during Hurricane Helen. But I got some people that saying they're going to help me pull it and fix it. This soap, I found this soap at the thrift store. It's cherry almond. It is so good of a soap. It's just so good. It don't matter how dirty I get at work. It can clean anything. And it smells really good. And under that house where I was working did not smell good at all. It smelled moldy and rat shit. They had a whole bunch of rat traps down there. There was a fresh snake skin. I'm pulling the poly, that layer. I'm pulling it, and then behind me there's a wet snake skin. The shed its skin so freshly that it was still wet. And I didn't tell, a shedded skin of a snake, you don't see no color. It's just white. I don't know what kind of snake it was. So I'm looking behind me, making sure I ain't gonna get bit by a snake or anything while I'm pulling the poly. I don't know why I said that part of it. There's no more of the story. I didn't ever see the snake. I never got bit by a snake. I was just kind of like, where's the snake at? Where's my underwear at? I gotta get clothes. Anyway, I was saying my well's broke. I'm gonna go over to Lee's and take a shower. Lee's well got broke. Not during the hurricane, but during something or another. And his whole family was coming and taking a shower here. And my brother was getting so irritated by it. But there was a lot of them. There was Lee, Jeremy, Aaron, Tina, Shelly, all the 4 kids of Jess. Just, the whole family coming down here and taking a shower for a long time. And then, Luke, he didn't like it or whatever. That's what our well broke. And now he lets me take a shower over there. So it was well worth it to get to know my neighbors. Because my brothers didn't really care to go meet the neighbors. I went and met all the neighbors. I started trading with all the neighbors. Like I was a beekeeper. The neighbors was growing vegetables that I wasn't growing. I was growing some vegetables they weren't growing. So we was able to swap different vegetables. And, different people had different skills. Like I know how to wire houses because I went to school to be an electrician. And, Lee's a mechanic. He knows how to work on vehicles. Everybody, everybody's not made to be good at the same thing. And so it's good to pair up with people that have strengths where you have weaknesses and weaknesses where you have strengths, and then both parties benefit. Somebody doesn't have to lose for somebody to win. Sometimes both sides can win. So, let's see. There's Duke and Dolly. Dolly's the white dog, and Duke's, you can't really see him. It's too dark out here. I forgot the soap, didn't I? I got my clothes, but where's the soap? Gotta go back and get the soap. I done dirtied up my towels. See, I had a bunch of towels get stolen from me. I was telling you that whole family was taking a shower at my house. Dolly's got some husky in her, so she makes some noises like that all the time. She's mad I didn't pet her. I'm petting her. Yeah, I see you. So I never had a dry towel ever because so many people was coming over. So I fixed that problem. I bought a bunch of towels. I probably bought 12 towels. And then Luke took all the towels to his place when he moved out. And I bought them. But I can't say much about it. Like I bought the refrigerator. I bought the air conditioners. But Luke did pay to fix the well one time. So, he can have the towels. But now I think I got like 1 or 2 towels. I've already need to buy some more. But I need to buy some brake pads before I buy some more towels. And some I got half my headlight. All my headlights on my truck are paired up. Like there's two brights, high beams on each side, and there's two low beams on each side. And I've got one of each blown. There's a good one working beside the one that ain't working. But I need to get them replaced. A deer jumped in the middle of the road. You know, I made it. I was almost 40 years old. Ain't never hit a deer. All these other people hitting deer all the time. I'm like, well, just watch where you go and slow down. And then I was telling Brittany about it. I was like, these people can't drive. They hitting deer all the time. I ain't never hit a deer. I'm bragging to Brittany about it. And then we've been together 2 years and I done hit like 4 deer. So I should have kept my mouth shut. I should. But these deer really will sometimes just jump up out of nowhere, right into the middle of the road. Like you don't have. Some of these deer are just like, they've accepted their fate. They're not waiting for deer season. Still coughing up, but no more blood. But there will be in the morning. It seems like I just cough up blood in the mornings. I gotta go on a fast. I was more disciplined about it. And now I'm just like, I don't want to not eat for a week. But it's the perfect thing to do. At least your body starts, instead of digesting food, your body starts eliminating the cells in your body that are cancerous, or it's got to eat something. And so it's not going to eat the cells with high function first. It's going to eat the ones with low function. And it boosts your immune system. Lets your body start recycling and building new white blood cells and, build more T cells. It's just great for your body to take a break from eating every now and then and let your digestive system rest. Used to, humans would always go through a winter or a drought or something during the year. There'd just be a lack of food and people would not even have to fast. It was going to happen. You were going to go through a period of not eating. And then now that there was an abundance of food, people were having health problems because they never took a break from eating. And so virtually every single religion in the world institutionalized fasting. They come up with a reason like you should fast. And people act like you're going to die when you fast. They freak out. They're like, what do you mean you're not going to eat 3 meals a day every meal? What do you mean you're going to not eat? You're going to die. And you can really go a lot longer without food than you would think. And also you keep shitting even though you're not eating a lot longer than you would think. If you're just drinking water, that stuff needs to come out. Some foods will pass through you faster than others, but there's a lot of foods that take 3 days to go from your mouth out to your body. And so is it really good to be eating 3 times a day every single day if what you ate that day doesn't come out that day? Some things will, some things won't. Like there's a lot of fruit and stuff that'll move through your body pretty quickly, but there's also a lot of things like nuts and I ain't gonna talk no more about it, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. People put up these disclaimers so they don't get sued. I don't see why I should have to do that. Like if somebody really just gets and watches a random YouTuber and then they just take his advice like he's God or something, that's kind of on them. Like you should check everything. You shouldn't just trust anything anyone says about like looking into it, checking, verifying. But there's a lot of other videos put out by doctors and stuff that talk about fasting. And you can go watch their videos and see if what I'm saying is bullshit or not. But I'm not trying to be rude. You just got to excuse me. I got to cough this stuff up. I've quit smoking. And now, when you smoke, you basically train your body not to cough. And then when you quit smoking, now you start coughing more and you cough a bunch and my lungs bleed a little bit. But it's going to be worth it. Eventually, I'll wake up one morning and I won't be coughing up no blood. And I won't be coughing up. I'll just be better. I'll just be healthier. And, let me see if I can catch him. Oh, where'd he go? He jumped over here. It's too dark. Okay, I got him. See, I caught a toad. There he is. Oh, he jumped away. Okay, so I'm about to go in Lee's house, and he might not want to be recorded, so I'm going to get off the live. Y'all have a great night. I gotta take a shower. I don't need to be live for that either. My girlfriend would kill me. Hello. I'm sorry you just got on here, but I'm just getting off. But you have a good day. Hey, Lee.
What's up?
I can't shower.
Holy shit, no, there's not. Well, yes, there is.